Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night later on. We all know that the pandemic exacerbates social inequalities. So, the Philippines is one of the countries with the highest COVID-19 related cases and deaths in Southeast Asia. When we talk about human rights, we are dealing with the basic rights of freedom that belong to every person in the world from the time he was in the womb of his mother until he passed away. But these rights were limited when policies were enacted to conform and adopt to the new norm. Let me discuss several rights that were curtailed due to the guidelines set forth by our interagency task force. Actually, the topic is really very broad, so allow me to limit and focus on the rights being compromised by the enacted policy. So we have one, declaration of state of public health emergency, freedom of expression, right to the highest attainable standard of health, right to education, immigration, the travel of locally stranded individuals and overseas Filipino workers, mandatory swab PCR tests, protection of health workers and frontliners, and cultural traditions, and of course, data privacy. First is the declaration of a state of public health emergency. It imposes limitations to rights such as the freedom of movements and freedom of expression. As part of the emergency measures, our government imposed a national lockdown, and it severely limits the freedom of movement of everyone in the country. Our guidelines was below 21 years old and above 60 years old, pregnant, immunocompromised, others with comorbidities are not allowed to go out. So we have to notify all our villages with the help of our council and activate their civil service unit to help us implement the national policy. We also have to use other measures so that we can explain to the constituents the reason why we have to implement the lockdown. We have to use the radio, television, live streaming, social media, barker, or soundtrack because people obey laws and comply with rules when they see them as legitimate, not because they fear punishment. Then second is of course is the freedom of expression. It is the responsibility of the government to provide information necessary for protection and promoting rights, including the right to health. Only valid and verified information shall be published and shared. We enacted an ordinance actually who are apprehending people who are proliferating fake news based on the national government's Bayanihan Act. We can actually ask the policeman to apprehend people who are proliferating fake news. This might create panic or chaos in our society. And how can we come up with good decisions and right decisions if we all based it from lies, not data? That is why we have counter speech and social dialogue with our constituents in a press conference held live stream in Facebook every day 5 p.m. And then the next is the right to the highest attainable standard of health. Our Constitution provides Article 2, Section 15 that the state shall protect and promote the right to health of the people and instill health consciousness among them, the right access to health care, immunization, no discrimination in the hospital regardless, and leaving no one behind. But in our city, we have a problem because we only have four private hospitals and all are level 1, meaning they only have 50 to 70 rooms per hospital and they have no isolation rooms and they are not capacitated to attend to COVID patients. So all his hospitals here also in the urban areas are not equipped and are not ready and not prepared to treat the virus. And the next is the right to education. Schools are closed. 21 years old and below are not allowed to go out, no face-to-face classes. To ensure education system respond adequately, our country adopt to variety of modalities to assure continuity of learning. Other teachers uses online platform, but connectivity here in our city is always a dilemma. So we opted to use a synchronous modular type of platform. It is quite expensive, of course, but with the support of all agencies, DepEd, parents, organizations, and LGUs, we will be able to maximize all our available resources. Then eventually advanced digital platform will be learned and will be used. Then in migration, we have the locally stranded individuals and our overseas workers who are repatriated. They are allowed to go home as long as they procure their travel pass and mandatory swab test. They are being deprived of their right to return to their hometown directly but they have to comply with all the requirements. Since our there's no mode of transportation, our transportation here in the Philippines is not yet normal. So they have to, well, the government provided bus and trains and other rented vans and then private cars. Then again, with the no swab test, will undergo a 14-day quarantine facility or quarantine under 14-day quarantine in our quarantine facilities. Our facilities are not really five-star hotels. However, they have an option to stay in the accredited hotels at their own expense. The next is the protection of health workers and frontliners. Government have an obligation to minimize the risk of occupational accidents and diseases, including by ensuring workers with health information and adequate protective clothing and equipment. Unfortunately, other areas here in the Philippines, they cannot provide PPEs and other benefits. It is always dependent on the availability of resources. But here in Iriga, we give equitable compensation, hazard pay, healthcare benefits, Magna Carta of health workers, and we also provide housing so they will not be exposed to their families. Then, of course, the traditions and our culture. Comes November in the celebration of All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. It is part of our culture that we visit our loved ones in the cemetery for 3 consecutive days and we stay until midnight. But however, there's the influx of people is uncontrollable. Social distancing will never be observed. Hence, it is not suitable and conducive for spreading. It is suitable for spreading the virus. So the degree of difficulty to control the people is very high. So that's why we decided to close down all cemeteries. So they will not be allowed to go home and visit their loved ones in the cemeteries. So the cemeteries will be closed from October 29 to November 4. And then last is, of course, the radio frequency identification, RFID, for contact tracing purposes. This is, of course, in contrast with data privacy law. Contact tracing is important and recognized part of any strategy to prevent and monitor the outbreak and spreading of infectious diseases. Manual contact tracing is labor intensive, very, very expensive, and can only trace very limited number of cases. However, security and privacy are always the valid concerns of the RFID. One is to acknowledge that the complex software and hardware environment or smartphones with multiple apps make it more difficult to prevent security issues with smartphone-based contact tracing apps. But with the situation that we have right now, we have no choice but to resort to advanced technology for a faster, accurate, and cheap process of contact tracing. So all these rights are may be limited, but there are still parameters that must be followed when applying limitations. Apparently, this is a big challenge to all local chief executives on how to be creative and innovative in implementing measures by not circumventing the law and violating the rights of the people, which means that only the least restrictive measures must be applied and limitations must not be abused or applied in an arbitrary way. Actually, there were reports in the Philippines that the other local officials have subjected people to ill treatment, forced LGBT to do lewd acts in public, and those who violated lockdown rules are kept in dog cages. Imagine. So I just hope justice will be served to all the victims. Now we are facing a long, crucial battle with undetermined path and result. What is clear right now is that more violations of the rights of the people will not help us. Our survival is dependent on protecting the rights of our people and holding on to the principles of democracy and the rule of law. Thank you very much, Doc.